You guys don't need me to tell you how important professional looking photography is to help you market your new property listings. But sometimes you just want to push photographs of your new property listings out to social media before you have that professional photographer come in and do their photo shoot. Well, on this episode of 2 Minute Tip Tuesday, I'm going to introduce you to my favorite photo editing app that you can download to your smartphone to enhance the photographs of your new property listings to really make them stand out and pop on social media. Hello everyone, I'm Seth Jessica, the Emerging Media Manager at Homes for Heroes, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of 2 Minute Tip Tuesday, where we provide you tips to help you grow your real estate or mortgage lending business. And on today's episode, I'm going to introduce you to my favorite photo editing app called Google Snapseed. Now, I believe that this app is really important to talk about because one, not many people know about it, and two, not many people talk about it. The majority of people will know about or talk about Canva or Photoshop or even the filters that you can use on Facebook or Instagram. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of all these tools and I use all these tools as well. However, what I'm not necessarily a big fan of with Canva or even the filters that you can use on Facebook or Instagram is that you have a very limited amount of control over how you want to make your photographs look. Just like the minor details in helping something stand out, or the saturation level, or the contrast level. Those are the controls that I like to have more control over, just to help my photograph, make it feel and look the way that I want my audience to take it in. Now, Photoshop, absolute fan of Photoshop. I love Photoshop. I love using the Photoshop app on my phone, but if you're just getting into editing your photographs, or if you're just starting to learn Photoshop, that app is a little bit more advanced and there's a little bit more of a steeper learning curve with Photoshop. So that's why I chose to focus on Google Snapseed, because I absolutely love it. It is the very first photo editing app that I downloaded to my smartphone, and it is the one that I still use today along with Photoshop. But we're focusing on Google Snapseed today. So what Google Snapseed allows you to do is it helps you edit all the details within your photo, whether it's the contrast, the hue, the saturation. You can really have more control over how you want your photograph to look. You can take your property listings from blah and basic to wow and amazing using Google Snapseed. So that's what we're going to do today. So let's put 2 minutes on the clock and let's jump right into Google Snapseed and I'll show you how to use it. So what we're going to do on today's video is take a basic photograph like this and turn it into an eye-catching photograph that looks like this. And to do that, the first thing that we're going to want to do is download and open the Google Snapseed app and click on this plus button. And now we're going to want to select the photograph that we want to edit. Now, as you can see, Snapseed provides you a long list of filters that you can choose from. If you want to use a filter for your photograph, you can. But the feature that I really like is the ability to have more control over its adjustments. So if I click on this pen tool, you can see I have a long list of adjustments that I can use to edit my photograph. Now, what I like to use is I like to use the tune image. And when I tune the image, I can add contrast and saturation to my photograph. So if I select on contrast, this will add more depth in between the shadows and the highlights on the photograph. And it'll start to help some of these highlights stand out. So if I click on saturation, this will help increase the saturation in the grass and the sky, as well as the green on the house. So as you can see, as I increase the saturation, now the green on the house and the grass and the sky are really starting to pop and stand out. And it really takes a really blah and basic photograph and turns it into that really eye-catching photograph where the colors start to stand out. Now the last thing I'll probably want to do is add warmth, and adding warmth is like adding fake sunshine. So as you see, if I increase the warmth on it, now it looks like there's sun that is just shining down on that house. and I really like that feature. Next thing I might want to do is add some details. So if I click on this check mark, it'll save all those changes, and I click on the pen again, go to details. Now I can add more sharpening to my photograph to really help the minor details, add more details to certain subjects within the photograph. So you can see that the grass is starting to have more detail. The minor details on the house, those are starting to increase. So I really like adding structure and sharpening to my photographs. Now if I hit the check mark again, the next thing I might want to do is add a little bit of a lens blur and a little bit of a vignette. So if I adjust this lens blur so this circle is covering my subject, now the house is in focus, but everything around it is going to have a little bit of blur, and I can increase that or decrease that, and it'll just add more blur or more bokeh to your subject. So then if I hit the check mark and save that and go to vignette, then I can add a little bit of a vignette around my photograph and draw my audience's eyes into the subject. So if I decrease the vignette or increase it, it's going to be darker around the edges. Now I recommend with your lens blur and your vignette that you don't go too dramatic on it, because then it starts to look like a cartoon. But just a little subtle vignette will just help draw your audience's attention into the subject. So if I click the check mark, the last thing I might want to add is some text. So if I double tap on this text, then I can change the text on it to whatever I want it to say, and that will be a text overlay on my photograph. And now I can adjust the size of it. So it's just a really nice feature that you can add, text overlay. Now, one final adjustment that I might want to make, just depending on the social media platforms that I'm posting it to, you can adjust the dimensions of your photograph. So if I'm posting this to LinkedIn or Twitter, then a 16:9 ratio would probably be the best ratio to use. If I'm posting it to Instagram, I might want to select the square, and then I might want to adjust it and format it properly for Instagram. If I want to post it to Facebook, then a 4:3 ratio would be best. And so you can save this image in all different dimensions, so you can have it formatted specifically for Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter or LinkedIn, whatever social media platform you are posting it to. And then once you're done with it, you can just hit the export button and then save as a copy, and it'll save that photograph right to your photo library. So that is my introduction to Google Snapseed, my personal favorite photo editing app on my smartphone. And again, this is an app and a tool that's not really intended to replace professional photography or Canva or the filters that you use on Facebook or Instagram. Those are all still great tools, and they all still have a place in our marketing. Google Snapseed and a photo editing app such as Google Snapseed is just another tool that you can add to your marketing tool belt to help your property listings or other images stand out on social media to help grow your business. So I hope that you guys found this 2-Minute Tip Tuesday episode helpful. If you did, make sure that you give it a like. Make sure that you subscribe to the Homes for Heroes YouTube channel and hit that notification bell. That way you'll get notified every time we publish a new episode of 2-Minute Tip Tuesday or a Real Talk with Homes for Heroes, the great podcast that we publish every Wednesday to the Homes for Heroes YouTube channel, or any of the other great content that we have coming out of the Homes for Heroes YouTube channel. You'll get notified about that. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you guys again real soon.